is that believing that there are parts of you that are not valid. So it's not okay to get angry. What's the danger with that? Whenever you see injustice or abuse, and you have been programmed to believe that it's not okay to be angry, what do? What's your reaction? You see injustice, you see abuse, oh, you're not supposed to get angry. So then what do?
We don't do anything, just static. Stats waiting to see what happens. No action.
Yeah. So we get paralyzed. And then we end up keeping secrets that we should not keep. And that's one of the reasons why so many women are being abused and nobody's saying anything. They're not saying anything because, oh, you're not supposed to get angry. Just go in your little corner and cry and cry and cry and cry and then cry some more. But don't get angry. Why? Because if a woman, and men get abused too, a lot. If a woman gets abused and she gets angry, what is she going to do? Okay, let me put it like this. If abuse has happened, let's talk particularly about women, and the man just goes in a little corner and cries, how is that different from if the woman gets really angry? What's the difference? How would she react if she's just in a corner crying? She keeps the abuser's secret. But if she gets angry, what does she do?
Kill the person.
She might kill the person. What else would she do? Thank you, Mary Romero. What else would she do if she gets angry other than killing him? What else?
Defend herself instead of being the prey.
What else?
Do the same to him.
I think he will
he
have
can.
the control of the situation.
What were you saying, Layali?
I think that she will have the control of the situation.
Exactly. So getting angry whenever you see injustice or you see abuse is actually the correct reaction. It's normal. It's logical. That's the reaction you should get anytime there's abuse or injustice. But we have been programmed to believe that anger is bad. And so we see abuse, and what do? We just stand there like Eduardo said, we're paralyzed. We're like, oops. Or we take out our phone like, oh, let me get this for the TikTok. That's not normal. You're supposed to get angry. You don't have to get violent because getting violent is a personal choice. It depends on who you are. But you are supposed to get angry whenever there's abuse or injustice. So in a sense, making kids and older people believe that you're not supposed to get angry, you're not supposed to get angry is actually another way in which society manipulates us. And when society manipulates us, it's because somebody is reaping the benefits of that manipulation. Okay, so here's my question to you. Does it have any effect on your health if every time you get angry, you just suppress that anger? What do we mean by suppressing anger? Simple. Most of us do it at some point. Oh, no, I'm not angry. I'm okay. I'm not angry. I'm good. Does that have any effect on our health? Okay, so talk to me. What would be the effect of a person who constantly suppresses anger? What organs of your body do you think would be affected? Okay, so Mandisa says your mind. Yes, what else? Think about when you get angry, in which part of your body do you feel it?
My heart.
The chest.
Eduardo said his heart, so that would be affected. What else? Somebody else was speaking.
Me. I say the chest.
Your chest, so that would be affected. And there's one particular organ where people keep all their anger. Think about it.
Is it the stomach? Is it?
It's the stomach. When we get angry, a lot of times, and we suppress it, we keep it in our stomach. And what is the effect of that? What do you think is the long-term effect of keeping all that anger in your stomach? People, a lot of times, when we get older, and I'm talking about you getting older, all types of little weird and random achaques start showing up. And people are like, oh, I don't understand. I was so healthy. I exercised every day, blah, 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 blah. But you know what? If you repress your anger, you are running the risk of being unhealthy. Because it's not only about exercise and eating good food, it's about your emotions also. And a lot of times we keep anger in our stomach. So we have people with all kind of weird digestive problems, all kind of weird pains in their stomach, all kind of cramps in their stomach. And it's simply because, not always, but simply because of the bad habit of repressing anger. And if at some point you have said, I'm fine, when you were not, you have also fallen into the habit of repressing anger. So then what can you do? What can you do when you get angry? You don't want to be called la loca. You don't want people to think you're a criminal. You don't want people to think badly of you. So what should you do when you get angry?
Right.
Okay. That could work. What else?
I will say, do and say what you want to do that makes you calm down, even though at the end you might hurt somebody else.
Okay. That works. What else? There is a first step. What do you think would be the first step?
Maybe take a deep breath.
Okay, but there's a step before you take a deep breath. Let's say taking a deep breath would be step 2. What would be step 1?
Realize that you are angry.
That's the most important step. Because like I said, we have been brought up to believe that anger is something bad and that you should not feel angry, right? So then a lot of times people keep saying, oh, I'm okay, I'm fine, I'm good, when they're really angry. So the first thing you need to do is admit, even if it's only to yourself. You can tell people if you want, that doesn't make a difference. But your body is listening to your words. So even if you just tell yourself, I'm really angry right now, and understand that you are human and that being angry is okay. Anger is not the problem. The problem is what you do with it. And when people get suddenly violent, it's because they have been repressing their anger for a long time. So just, accept, you know what, right now, I'm feeling angry. Then you take the deep breath and then you decide what you're going to do. But if you took the time to tell yourself and to admit to yourself that you're actually feeling angry, you are not going to fly into some violent rage and pick up a knife and stab somebody. Because that little pause where you spoke to yourself is the only thing that was really necessary. Admitting that you are angry. So that's the most important step. And that's the step that a lot of people do not want to take because they believe that being angry is wrong. And if you're a good Christian, you should never get angry. However, Jesus got angry and took out a whip and turned over some tables. But that's a whole different story. So being angry is just a normal human thing. And we need to be willing to understand that we can get angry. So let's go back to this whole separation where women start being called la loca and men are seeing like, yeah, he's angry. Now he's going to do something. He's going to fix this problem. One of the reasons that happens is because most of the time women repress their anger and only get angry. And I'm talking about Latin America. Only get angry when it has something to do with the husband or the boyfriend. Everything else, you're like, estoy bien, estoy bien. And as soon as they have some kind of issue with the husband, they start throwing plates and throwing shoes and throwing knives. That's one of the reasons why people say, ay, ta loca. Because we have not been taught as women that you can get angry over any other thing, not only your husband or your boyfriend or your partner or whatever. And so we see all these little videos showing up on YouTube, on TikTok, on Instagram of women who are fighting in the street over something that makes no sense. They're usually fighting over a man. But what happened, as I said, is that simply because they have been told that it's not okay to be angry. And they kept it bottled up. And then finally, it just exploded in that particular situation. So, girls, and I'm going to speak to the boys later. Girls, what are some ways that you can express your anger without having to go to the extreme of becoming violent or doing something ridiculous on the street and ended up in somebody's video or meme? What are some of the activities that you can do to work out that anger? Because again, anger is fine. It's not like, oh, I need to get rid of it. Oh, take away this anger. No, it's fine. It's a normal emotion. But what are some of the activities that you can do that will help you process that anger in a more healthy way? I'm going to start naming names. Yeah, I know. And I'm going to start at the top of my screen. Yep, you know who you are. Diane Otero, talk to me. What's something you can do? One activity that you can do. Now remember, this doesn't apply to everybody. It applies to you. Okay, so what can you do to process your anger?
Well, I do not do much when I am angry, but this Monday I was at my brother's birthday and he had like a piñata and I hit the piñata and I hit it so hard, but I couldn't break it, but it felt good. So I think that I would like to go to a rage room and it will be cool.
Yeah, I've heard of those rage rooms where you just go in and break up stuff. Yeah. Okay, so that would work for you. Good. Mary Foster.
I think that listening to music and going for a walk, that thing I may feel relief after that and talk to someone about it.
Good. Anna.
What was the question?
What are the things that you can do to express your anger?
But not in a violent way, right? I don't know. Maybe I don't, we can change the anger and we can replace it by crying, maybe.
Would that work for you?
Yeah.
Okay, then it's perfect. Salibu?
Well, maybe you can just not like draw, but you just do this thing on paper and just get yourself free. Sometimes I do this thing about put some paper there and with a pencil just scratch there, and I think this will work.
Okay, it's called doodling. Doodling. So doodling works for you. Layali.
I think express my anger through drawings.
Okay, Genesis.
For me, is sharing with someone the reason why I am mad.
it helps me a lot.
Aranza?
For me, is creating things like drawing or making collage or digital work, something like that.
Mary?
I don't know. Maybe go to sleep or cry. I don't know.
Natalie?
Maybe you can shout, write on a paper, talk with a friend, or also you can play tennis.
Okay. Mandisa?
Scream into a pillow, draw sometimes, drawing, and hitting myself.
Hitting yourself. Is that what you said?
Yes.
Okay, so we need to talk. Okay, so good. So everybody finds the way that works for them. And the reason is because we need to stop feeling ashamed of our anger. It's nothing to be ashamed of. Anger is a normal human emotion, and it's okay to feel angry. Okay, so when some of the things that you mentioned, girls, are very acceptable for women. You cry, you draw, you talk to a friend. Those are acceptable by society for girls to do when you get angry. But society would not see that as something adequate for boys. So when a boy gets angry, we don't expect him to doodle or to talk to a friend or to go for a walk or to cry. So you see how unfair society is. A society has all these random little rules, and it just expects people to fall into these rules. And if you don't, you get criticized. So again, anger is nothing to be ashamed of. It's okay to be angry. That's just a normal human thing. In fact, if somebody tells me I never get angry, I start wondering what's wrong with that person, because it's normal. But then, boys, if society has removed from you all these options that are open to girls, and one of the reasons why girls are not expected to express their anger is because, oh, why don't you just go cry and don't get angry? Just go cry, or go draw something and don't get angry. So society is also unfair with boys. But who cares about society? You need to care about yourself. So each of you, the three of you, what would work for you when you get angry? So remember, we said Eduardo Soto just disappeared and he's the first one that needs to speak. Remember, we said that getting angry is normal. And the first step is accepting that you are angry and not trying to hide it. Okay? Eduardo, what would work for you when you get angry to help you not repress, but just process it?
Okay, sometimes I get violent, yes. But one of the things I realized was making monologues, improvising, talking out loud, like if I were talking to somebody face to face, or maybe complain on my friends, especially.
Adrian?
I'm not an angry person, but I do get angry. And like a lot of stuff doesn't bother me because I just let it slide. Like, oh, this happened, I need to live with it. If something that happens that frustrates me to the point that I actually get angry and start getting annoying, I usually try to acknowledge what's the part that makes me angry. So, for example, maybe there's traffic and I want to get home early and now I'm getting angry, and it's an illogical anger because there's literally nothing I can do. So first you need to step back and understand what the problem is, and then understand if you can do anything about it, change it. That is at least what I do when I get angry.
Okay. Moises?
I don't know. I don't get angry often, but what I do when when I am like mad at something or that something bad happens is that I start like thinking about it a lot, and eventually I stop caring. And so it's like I talk to myself. It's like I talk to myself a lot about it, and eventually I realize, hey, maybe that's not so bad, and so I stop being angry.
Okay, so that's very good. Now, people, one more time. It's okay to get angry. It's okay. And if you don't admit your anger, you're repressing your anger, and that can lead to a whole lot of problems later on. For instance, if you get so accustomed to repressing your anger, and as I said before, it's just going to come out in the weirdest, dumbest moments. And people are going to say, oh, now you're overreacting. But it's not that. It's that simply you got into the habit of repressing your anger and you just let it out in the worst possible moment. So don't be afraid or ashamed of ever admitting that you are angry. In fact, if you're talking to somebody and the person says something that really hits you, it's okay to say, you know what, I'm angry right now. Let me go away and we can talk later. It's okay. Because if you continue in that conversation pretending, you're just hurting yourself and you're actually being disloyal to yourself. So whenever injustice or abuse or any situation that has to do with that shows up, it's okay to get angry. And I cannot say that enough, because I do not want you to grow up becoming one of those adults that suddenly out of the blue develops weird and random diseases, or suddenly starts feeling pain in parts of their body where you should not feel pain. And when you go back to it, it's because of the anger. So admitting that you are angry is fine. Talking to yourself or to somebody or doodling or whatever or crying, that's fine too. As long as you are able to understand that you're doing that because you're angry, and anger is okay. So if we go back to the book, we're going to find that Firdaus was accumulating anger from her childhood, from the abuse that she suffered, because nobody spoke to her and nobody loved her or hugged her or kissed her. And she was constantly abused by the men and women in her family, to the point where she started getting these distorted ideas and ended up in prison. What would have been different? What would have happened if from a young age, Firdaus had understood that it was okay for her to be angry? The story would have completely different. But what happened was that she wanted to be liked. And this is what catches a lot of people. You want to be liked. You want to caer bien. You want people to like you. And so you end up trying to please them. And in so doing, you repress your anger. So I mentioned the two big ones, which are injustice and abuse. Those are perfectly okay for you to get angry at those moments. And whenever you hear, for instance, a sexist or racist joke, it's okay to get angry. You don't have to laugh. But a lot of times we laugh because we don't want people to think we're bad or we're weird, or we want people to like us. So it's okay to get angry and tell the person, you know what you're saying is wrong, or what you're doing is wrong. Getting angry doesn't mean that you have to get violent. Getting violent, okay, depends on your personality. But it doesn't mean that you have to get violent and start hitting and punching and kicking people. No, you can be angry and simply say, I'm angry, don't do this anymore. But a lot of times we think that in order for people to understand that we're angry, we need to kill somebody, or we need to shoot somebody or kick somebody. No, and that's exactly what happened in the case of Firdaus, as we're going to see. She did not express her anger. She did not accept her anger. And then she ended up killing somebody to prove that she was angry. That doesn't make any sense. That's no way to live. If you learn to manage your anger little by little from a young age, you will not end up making these impulsive decisions that you will later on regret. So you don't regret getting angry. Getting angry is fine. What you regret is what you did with that anger. And in order for you to not make bad decisions with your anger, you need to be willing to be honest with yourself and accept your anger whenever you feel it. Accept it and understand that it's okay to be angry. So your parents came in and unfairly accused you of something. It's okay to get angry. It's not okay to start yelling at them and throwing shoes at them, but it's okay to get angry. So you just stop and you say, what they're saying is unfair. I'm feeling angry right now. That's okay. If one of your friends gossips about you, it's okay to get angry. So you're not going to be like, ay, a mí no me importa lo que ella quiera decir. No, admit it. I'm angry. I hate what she did. I'm angry. That's okay. If you see something on the television that you find offensive, it's okay to get angry. Don't be like, oh, I'm okay, I'm fine. Don't do that. It's okay. You have no reason to be ashamed of your anger. Do you understand what I'm telling you? Okay, people. So last thing before we end the class. Why do you think there's so much shame and embarrassment and confusion about the importance of our anger? Is there a possibility when we can use our anger for good things? Or is it always going to be just for bad?
I've heard that there are people that exercise when they are angry, and there's not an extremely negative consequence about that. They're actually putting that energy on exercising, and there is a positive consequence in doing that.
Okay, so I like what you said, Mary, because yes, anger brings up a lot of energy, and that's the reason why it's so dangerous to try to hide it. But great answer, exercising when you're angry, and it works. So what about in society in general? What would be the difference if people in society actually got angry and admitted they were angry for the right things? So for instance, when people close the street because they're fighting for their rights, a lot of times the causes that they're fighting for don't make a lot of sense. But they got angry enough to go out and close the street, and sometimes they get what they want. They get the response that they want. That's also another example of using your anger for something positive, okay, for something good. But what would happen in society if people really got angry for the things that were really important? Do you think it would make a difference in a lot of things that we have to put up with in society? Like, for instance, how many times are we going to hear on the television about corrupt politicians and how they're stealing the money? And, and we keep hearing this thing, and I've been hearing it from my own as a little girl, so that's a long time. And it's always the same. Están vaciando las arcas, se roban nuestro dinero, blah, 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 blah. But people aren't angry. Do you think that if people got angry for such an example such as that, it would make a difference, or would it just be like, whatever?
I think, I don't know, it maybe my way of thinking it's wrong about this, but I think they're doing it on purpose, like mentioning the topic every time, every day, every month, every year, like to get people exhausted and be like, mira, enough. I heard enough. You keep, bringing this topic every year, and you do not do. Okay, sorry. You do nothing to solve it. So I think it making people angry every time they hear politics, because right now you were talking about it, and I'm just angry because they do nothing. They just speak about it and se culpan each other and fires each other and steal money from each other, and nothing changes. That's why I think they're doing it on purpose to make people like, mira, I will not protest because it's the right thing, okay? The money is for all of us. I think so.
Yes. Teacher, let me talk. I think we're getting like anger in the wrong direction because we are like submissive. Because I don't know if you remember, 9 de enero, students used anger as a revolutionary movement. And for me, the reason why we have all these good things and free of speech and feminism and everything, all the things that are helping people, is because we got angry and we took action. But right now, what is happening with all this of corruption and women keep getting um, hit and everything is because we get submissive. We getting on the wrong direction. We're like, yeah, that's life. We don't care. I'm sad, but I don't know what it has to be done for us to get angry and be motivated about it and do something.
You see, that's exactly why anger is not bad. And that's exactly one of the reasons why society keeps telling you, don't get angry, because you become submissive when you repress your anger. And that's exactly why I'm telling you, feel your anger, admit that you're angry, don't feel ashamed of your anger, because anger is what makes people take action. And the normal, correct human response to abuse or injustice is anger. When you see injustice, it doesn't make any sense to cry. You're not solving anybody's problem by crying. But if you get angry, then you would start taking action. When you see abuse, sitting in a corner and crying is going to favor the abuser because he's going to feel powerful. But if you get angry, you're going to stand up and you're going to put an end to it. So anger is actually a good emotion and it's normal and you should not be ashamed of it. What you do need to know is where to channel your anger. Because like I said, it makes no sense to be getting angry at La Querida when there's so many other things that you can also be angry at that would actually improve your life. So you need to know how to use that anger. And I think that's one of the things that most humans have not figured out yet. They just want to get angry, hot-headed, scream, and then that's it. So use that energy that comes with the anger and channel it to the right spot and make a change. If people in Panama really got angry about all the injustice, especially those who are suffering the most from it, things would change. I can assure you that if they got up tomorrow and announced that for the second consecutive year, there is no carnavales, people would get angry. They would get angry because of that. But then there's a whole lot of other nonsense going on, and they're like, yo no sé, hay un Dios en el cielo, allá ellos. That's not how it works. You need to know how to use your anger to make change. Every single time people have risen up and created change in their environment is because they were angry. So anger is good. Just figure out how to use it. Okay, people, so that's it. Please read the book. Read the book. Read the book. Okay, bye-bye. See you next time.